Hello owls and welcome to another edition of the Burrow Reviews. My name is Jared and today we're doing something very special on this holiday, and we're going to be looking at some of my favorite films from 2019. I just want to say real quick, wherever you are in the world, wherever you are in life right now, I hope that you've been able to find some happiness and some warmth and peace this holiday season, and I hope that going forward in the future, there'll be nothing but fulfillment. But with all that being said, I do want to talk about movies because that's why we're all here. And just like our top horror films of 2019, this list isn't going to have a particular order or a particular number of films that we're trying to achieve. I simply just want to share some of the greatest film experiences I've had in the year of 2019 with you guys. So to start, I figured, why not kick it back to the beginning of the year with a film like Booksmart?
We have to go to a party tonight.
What?
Let's go to Nick's party.
Are you kidding? No way.
We only have one night left to have studied and partied in high school. Otherwise, we're just gonna be the girls that missed out.
So, Booksmart is Olivia Wilde's directorial debut, and we've talked about it on this channel before, but I can't stress this enough. This was the first year, and it was released in May of this year, so not right at the beginning of the year, but also, not at the end. And I remember this being the first film that I truly felt like will have a place on my year-end list, no matter what comes out. There's a lot of style coming from the director's chair in this film. Caitlin Dever and Beanie Feldstein do deliver some gut-busting comedy in this film, and Billie Lourd's cameos are something on another world. Like, it feels otherworldly when it happens, and it's super joyous, and the whole animation scene that takes place in the middle of the film, paired with just the chemistry that everyone has, really make this truly an enjoyable experience for any time of the year. And it kind of harkens back to some of the comedies that, coming of age comedies that we've had earlier on in the early 2000s with, predominantly male cast. And we're taking that idea and we're building off of it and, breathing new life into that kind of movie. So I can't wait to see what Olivia Wilde does for her next film. Our next film is going to come from writer-director Noah Baumbach, and it's called Marriage Story. It's a Netflix original, so why don't you take a look first?
It's not easy for her to close a cabinet.
He's incredibly neat.
She's brave.
He's brilliant. He's very competitive.
Marriage Story is about a divorce, but there's kind of a sentimental quality to the whole film, a sweetness to it, that kind of makes the divorce and just everything that we experience in the film feel kind of next level almost. It kind of elevates it a little bit. Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson turn in magnificent performances. Driver, who has gotten a lot of Oscar buzz this year, not so much for Scarlett Johansson, even though I think she does as much, if not more, than Adam Driver in this film. So we really should be looking at this movie is almost an ensemble piece, because even the supporting cast, Laura Dern's great. Everyone in this film feels important, and they feel, like they matter to the story. They serve the story. They're not just kind of cardboard cutouts of characters that Baumbach has just thrown in the mix with everything else. And I get just as much enjoyment out of watching the supporting cast as I do Adam Driver and Scarlett Johansson. So that's another reason why Marriage Story, I think, works as well as it does. And to be honest, I didn't really get to talk about it, but it has kind of this theatrical quality to it. It feels like a theater production on film. Some of the emotion, the tone, it's so chaotic, and it's very fluid. Like, a lot of the scenes and the blocking in the film feel like a stage production, back and forth, center stage, stage right, stage left, and it feels like characters are moving all around to give it this kind of energy that you would normally have from a theater performance. However, what that does for the movie, it makes everything stoic, and it makes everything larger in scale than it actually is. And I do feel like that heightens not only the emotions, but also the performances from everyone around the whole entire cast. We have another writer-director on this list from Trey Edward Schultz, who directed Waves.
Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is not rude. It doesn't boast. Love also forgets wrong.
Waves is another coming-of-age story, but it's also another ensemble piece where everyone in the cast is working on all cylinders the entire film. Kelvin Harrison Jr., Taylor Russell, Lucas Hedges, Sterling K. Brown all turn in really solid performances here. Particularly Kelvin Harrison Jr. here turns in a truly harrowing performance. And I don't want to spoil anything in Waves for you, but the first half of the movie is completely different from the second half of the movie, and there's a creative decision on the director's side here to kind of, split the movie into almost two different aspect ratios, literally two different frame sizes to kind of, highlight and evoke that divide, that rift a little bit better than just some of the story could handle. And I feel like that may be a little bit showy for some people, but for me it really worked. And the second half of this movie, and what the film tries to bring home, is the point of forgiveness. And it's a really sentimental film about forgiveness. Everyone's human here, and everyone makes mistakes, and that's okay. Our next film is going to be a little bit of a pivot, but I feel like I can't have a year-end list without including at least one documentary. And a documentary that really surprised me was Ask Dr. Ruth.
So, Dr. Ruth, you write that one of your least favorite words is normal.
Right.
Why?
Because we don't know what normal is. And I want to tell you something about what you just said, Jonathan. In those days, in the 1981, when I started WYNY, sexually speaking, nobody talked about homosexuality. The one thing that I have done forever is to say respect is not debatable. There is no such thing as normal.
Ask Dr. Ruth follows the story of Dr. Ruth Westheimer, and it really just details how many different hats she's worn in her entire life, and how to navigate certain issues of sexuality and identity. And it is really this beautiful story of coming to terms with yourself and with the reality of things. And I feel like this movie kind of flew under the radar a little bit just because it was a Hulu original. And I highly encourage you, if you have a Hulu subscription, to give this a watch, because like I said, it's going to be well worth your time, and it's partly animated as well. The animation here kind of enhances the storytelling perspective on things, and it kind of gives it a childlike quality to it, and harkens back to a more innocent and more reflective time in her life. And going forward, every decision that she's ever made can be mapped out through this animation. And I think that's a beautiful thing, and I think the documentary is working on a few different levels. And beyond that, she's just one hell of a person, and I admire her so much. So please, if you have Hulu, I recommend this movie. Bong Joon-ho knocks it out of the ballpark again with Parasite.
참으로 시적절하다. 부자들이 원래 참 잘 속아. 사모님이 뭐랄까.
풀타임으로 수업 어떻게 하시는지. Is it okay with you?
I'm beginning to notice quite of a theme here for my top picks of 2019. And a lot of them are ensemble pieces, and spoiler alert, it will be no different for our last pick on this list, but we'll get to that. Parasite walks on the line of secondhand nervousness the entire movie. That's an experience that I don't often get from films, and it's one that I do truly enjoy when I get, because I feel like it's such a hard thing to balance so many different things at once. And this film is working on so many different levels. It's blending genre. It's super funny, but it's also really, really terrifying. And it gives you some insight into class perspectives, which is something that this director has previously done in the past. It's kind of his staple almost. And I feel like this movie kind of, shines the light down a different avenue of exploration of class, right? No character here is completely one-sided. They all feel pretty three-dimensional, and there are motivations on both sides, with the rich people, with the rich characters in the film, and with the poor characters in the film. There's this kind of mutual community within that divide that just feels tangible, and it feels real. And that end, I'm not even going to spoil the end for you. You should just watch the film. And finally, we have reached the end. Our last pick for the top films of 2019, Rian Johnson's Knives Out. about this film for the past month to everyone that I know and everyone that loves cinema. And at a certain point, I kind of have to let people know to temper their expectations a little bit because I am hyping it up. Like, I swear at this point, people probably think I'm a Rian Johnson stan. Kind of am, but I just had a lot of fun with this. I had a lot of fun with this movie. And compared to previous years, really the picks on my list this year, and I don't know if it's because of my situation where I'm at in life, I'm almost getting ready to be done with school, but I've just picked films here that are truly enjoyable to watch on multiple different levels. And, they don't feel too heavy-handed at all, even though that a lot of them are dealing with the exception of Waves. I mean, Waves is pretty heavy-handed. But everything else kind of has this light quality to it, and Knives Out is kind of the perfect way to put a bow around my top films of 2019. The cast is phenomenal. You have so many people, Michael Shannon, Toni Collette, Jamie Lee Curtis, you have Christopher Plummer in there, Daniel Craig. I mean, the list goes on and on. But the one thing that I will say is dealing with that amount of cast members can be tricky. And, Johnson finds a way to give them all enough screen time and kind of leave some space in there for you to want more from those characters. And just like any good whodunit, there are multiple twists here that you likely won't see coming, including one that happens very early on that on second viewing worked much better for me than it did the first time around. I hope that in the future Johnson gets to make more films like these. Specifically in this franchise, I could do a film every Thanksgiving, a Benoit Blanc, crime thriller every Thanksgiving, and I think that would be a really nice way to get me to go back to the theater on Thanksgiving, because normally I don't like going to the theater on holidays. However, that truly is a Thanksgiving movie. You have the whole family there. You can bring the family with, and you can have a really good time watching this movie, and that's truly what we need to wrap out the end of this year going into 2020. And there's a lot of things to be excited for in 2020, right? We have the new Ghostbusters, we have Birds of Prey, we have Wonder Woman 1984, all of which I'm super excited for. And my favorite thing about going into the new year is always, what am I not expecting? What am I not expecting? Because there's always something that I'm not accounting for that just utterly shocks me when I go to the cinema to watch it. And those are some of the best experiences that I've had. And I think a lot of my lists this year come from those type of experiences. Parasite specifically was a movie that I was trying to temper my expectations for just because I heard so many good things about it. And, by tempering my expectations, I think I was actually able to enjoy it a bit more. So thank you so much for watching this. I know it can be a really stressful time of the year, so it means a lot that you're sitting down and taking the time to watch this video. If you liked it, give us a thumbs up, share this video with your friends and family, and make sure to subscribe to the channel. I was hoping to hit, 100 subscribers by the end of the year. Didn't quite happen, but you know what? There is still tons of time. And finally, let us know what are some of your favorite films in the comments below. I'm really curious to know. Another exciting thing of year-end list is to just figure out what everyone's tastes in movies are, because they're all completely different and they're all completely valid. And plus, that's the only way that I'm going to find out some movies that I may have missed throughout the year or didn't have time to go see. So if you let me know what you like, maybe I will actually take the initiative to go out and watch those films. This has been a great year for the Burrow Reviews. Thank you for your continued support, and we will see you in the new year. Bye, guys.